Here we are. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad you're all here today. It's wonderful on this beautiful summer day in the Pacific Northwest to be together and to have Amber back among us. Yay! So why don't we have this group of wonderful musicians take us into some song.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed the summer months and still this beautiful weather. If you can and you're able, you want to stand up and we'll sing into this day together. Anything is possible when you believe. You know anything is possible when you believe. You can make a mountain move when you believe. You know you can make a mountain move when you believe. Don't you know that you can change your life when you believe? Oh, don't you know that you can change your life when you believe in yourself? In yourself, when you believe in yourself, when you believe in yourself, when you believe in yourself, when you believe, we're gonna make a miracle when you believe. You know you're gonna make a miracle when you believe. Everything you want, you got when you believe. You know everything you want, you got when you believe in yourself, in yourself. When you believe in yourself, when you believe in yourself, when you believe in yourself, when you believe. All right, look around at all those friends. I believe in me. That's right. And I believe in you. We believe in each other. There ain't nothing we can do. No, 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 no. I said I believe in me. And I believe in you. We believe in each other. There ain't nothing we can do. Anything is possible when you believe. You know anything is possible when you believe in yourself. In yourself. When you believe in yourself. When you believe in yourself. When you believe in yourself. That's right. Nice. Beautiful. So good to see all your faces. Can you take a moment to greet all those neighbors out there?
That's the way to wake him up.
right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. 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 My soul is welcome
Almost forgot to come up. So welcome. My soul is welcome here, and all of you are welcome here. And I am Kalish Leviel, practitioner of the day, along with Deb Dole. And in case anybody forgot to silence their cell phones, now's the time to do it. I think that covers it. Thank you. So, let's take a moment to notice how beautiful this day already is, how joyful we are, how wonderful the whole planet is, coming together in this moment, being welcome here, knowing that we're in the right place, and knowing that wisdom surrounds us in a variety of ways. So grateful. We thank you, sweet Spirit, for all of the gifts of the planet, all of the gifts of the universe, all of the gifts of CSL Bellingham, all of the gifts that we thank you for. And so it is.
Yeah. Kid time.
Kids in the audience, children, we'd like to invite you to come up to be with your teachers if that feels good to you. Anybody here would like to come up?
Yes, we have a cat over here who's going to join us.
There's a kitty cat, and there's a 4-year-old coming on up. Come on up.
Yay!
Yay! Our wonderful teachers for today are Charlie and Georgia, and Mary and Joe. And we're delighted to see some kids back from all the holidays of the summer. And so let's sing that wonderful song.
Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. We got Mother Nature and the human race. The world's got trees and bumblebees, rivers and lakes and the open seas, mountains and valleys and animals too, and a sun that shines on me and you. Sing hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. We got Mother Nature, and let's sing hooray. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. We got Mother Nature and the human race. We got Mother Nature and the human race. You kiddos have a fun time today, and we'll see you again soon. mean, I don't know about you, but that song makes me happy. I feel like we should sing it even when the kids aren't here, you know. No. All right, hooray for the world. I'm glad to be on it. And we are going to move into a musical meditation with y'all. After a brief tuning. There was so much excitement on that last song. The guitar didn't know what to do. Take comfort as I am. Surrender all need for a plan. Divine presence is always at hand. Take comfort as I am. Take comfort. Take comfort as I am. Surrender all need for a plan. Divine presence is always at hand. Take comfort as I am. I know there's only one moving me to be untethered, undone. I accept this love healing, breathing me whole, and give thanks for it is done. Take comfort as I am. Surrender all need for a plan. Divine presence is always at hand. Take comfort as I am. I know there's only one. I know there's only one moving me to be untethered, undone. I accept this love healing, breathing me whole. I know there's only one moving me to be untethered, undone. I accept this love healing, breathing me whole, and give thanks for it is done. And give thanks for it is done.
Thank you all of you for the wonderful music, and welcome again. This is the last week where I'm speaking about the wisdom pattern, and I wanted to quote a man. I don't know if you've heard of him. His name is Friar Richard Rohr. How many of you have heard of him? Yeah, he's an amazing theologian and contemplative Franciscan monk, and kind of monk you want to know. You know what I mean? I mean, like, he's really open, and he's really very thought-provoking, and he has a lot of books, and he has, if you go on the web and look up Richard Rohr, R-O-H-R, you'll find all kinds of resources. And in one of his books that I have, he said this: In moments of insecurity and crisis, shoulds and oughts don't really help. They just increase the shame, the guilt, the pressure, and the likelihood of backsliding. It's the deep yeses that carry us through. So, this quote kind of stabilized me a lot during the first 2 years of the pandemic, when there was a lot of crisis. There was a tremendous amount of insecurity, and there was a lot of oughts and shoulds going on everywhere. Not just one side or the other, but everybody. Except it felt like me sometimes, who was standing in the middle going, that doesn't really work. Telling someone else what to do doesn't work. Have you noticed that? I've tried, and people have tried with me, and it's like, I don't know about you, but when someone tells me what to do, I'm like, you are no longer my friend, So he's right. And it's the deep yeses that are the ones that our tradition, our philosophy is focused in on, is how can we live from a place of action that is positive. So the wisdom pattern today has to do with a story told by another one of my favorite people. Do you know Clarissa Pinkola Estes? Yes. Her first book, which took her 13 years to write, was Women Who Run with the Wolves. But she is a phenomenon, and she's a Jungian, and she tells stories. So of course she's my favorite, right? And this story is about her childhood, actually. And, she was fostered by a family of Hungarians, and her heritage was from Mexico. And so this is a story about her foster uncle, who was in Hungary when World War II was happening. And one day, men came to his village, and they dragged him out and took him to be slave labor in one of the camps. And so eventually what happened to him is he made his way to America, where the rest of his family had fled. And at the time, I don't know if you've ever thought about this. This really wasn't part of the talk, but it's good setting the scene. Back then, there were no cell phones. There were actually not very many phones. And so there was no way to have someone meet you when you arrived in America. You had to just kind of rely on this sort of system of kind people to get where you needed to go. And eventually, you would find someone who could afford to send a telegram. But the agreement with the telegrams were they were blank. And all they said was, "Uncle is coming," okay, or something like that. And so he made his way through this sort of underground network through Europe after the war ended, and into the bottom, the steerage of a ship going to America, and landed, and through another series of kind souls found his way, and a telegram went out to the family, and it said, "Uncle's arriving in Chicago," which was 3 hours by train west of where they were. So they prepared for the journey and got on their train to go meet his train, and it was quite an epic journey. So now Uncle is home, and that's where this story begins. So all was well and growing green again until there came a certain day. It began well enough in the morning, but by early evening, all hell had broken loose. The State Road Commission sent officials down to announce to all in our rural village that the state would, quote unquote, annex land belonging to the people. The state would build a toll road through the quiet woodlands where we lived. They would, quote unquote, annex entire forests and fields, these essentials that were the healing grounds of the war-torn, the land on which people grew their summer and winter food, the hide-and-seek places of children, the piney bedsteads of tramp rail riders, the shelters of those who called a tarp and a stick pole home. For ever so many, these lands were the rest and repair of our souls. Uncle stood up and shouted, "What is annex? You mean steal. You mean steal from us." Several frightened family members jostled Uncle out and tried to calm him. So let me skip because it's a long story. Everyone in the community prayed for the road commission to come to their senses, for the bureaucrats to change their plans for the good of all, for the carving of the land to be stopped, for God to send this highway away, far away, forever. But it was not meant to be. Every day the earth movers came, and every day they bleated and whined and ground, cutting down and through the prime forest and farmland. One morning we heard Uncle outside, and the sounds of hoes and rakes clashing and clattering and sacks of iron tools falling over. "I'm doing something," Uncle cried. "I'm doing something." He seized two enormous shovels. Our shovels and hoes were sharpened on a great whetstone wheel. All tool edges were as sharp as razors. This is a holdover from the old country, where one might have to use one's tools not only to dig, but also to defend oneself. No one had lived long enough away from the practice from the war to have found reason to outgrow this. Everyone cried, "No, Zovar, no, Uncle, put the shovels down. What are you doing? Don't do anything rash." But Uncle did not answer. He marched toward the fields with a shovel on either shoulder, one to rest and one to work. All morning, he dug in a small parcel of what was left of a larger field after the toll road bed cut through. In their passion to make the road, some workers had plowed up more field land than was needed. The broken trunks of trees and the destroyed corn rows were all they had left behind. They turned a living field into debris and then walked away. The new toll road was now complete, and its pavement less than 300 yards to the west. Uncle dug deeply along the perimeter of the field, following the general camber of the new highway and leaving behind a long, snaking mound of dirt. He dug and shoveled and shoveled and dug. Various neighbor men interrupted their own work to walk down the road to advise. They returned with shovels and pickaxes to help. By afternoon, for as far as one could see, there was a trench that ran along about 1/2 of an acre. It was between 2 to 3 feet wide along the narrow side of the field that remained in the village's hands. Night fell. Uncle trudged home. He ate a big meal of soup. He chewed down a hunk of black homemade rye bread. He downed stinging cold beer from an amber glass bottle, and he left the house carrying an old enamel red bucket brimming with fuel. He walked, tilted way over to one side with his burden. There in the field, in the completely windless night, he carefully poured the fuel all along the field on 2 sides and once down the middle. From the edge of the field, he struck wooden stick matches and threw them in low at several places. The entire field erupted in a blaze so great that it drew people from as far away as the black smoke cloud could be seen. The wide dirt roads on 3 sides and the trench on one side kept the blaze contained. Far into the night, men and women with sleepy children in their arms stood in long lines, nodding their heads approvingly, watching the field burn and burn. The next day, the field was still smoking, but fire dead. With his razor-sharp hoe, Uncle skinned back blackened roots and stubble here and there, thereby exposing the earth even more. "So you see," Uncle said, "this burning and blackening of the soil here? Soon much will come of it, so much you will not believe it." "Well, what will you seed here?" I asked. "I will seed nothing," said Uncle. I did not understand. We had burnt land before, for the ash made tired ground more fertile again. Why will you leave the land bare and unseeded, uncle? Ah, as an invitation, my girl. Uncle explained that the pines and the oaks will not spread into fields to grow and make a new woods unless we leave the ground unseeded. My uncle envisioned that this barren land was to become a new forest, one of great beauty and repose. To be poor and to be without trees is to be the most starved human being in the entire world. To be poor and to have trees is to be completely rich in ways that money can never buy. The trees, he said, would not come if the land were planted. The seeds of new life will find no hospitality or reason to rest here unless we leave it barren, unless we leave it bare, so a forest of seeds will find it hospitable. Long ago, Uncle's father had a good friend who gave him the word hospitable. Hospitality, especially to strangers, was what the neighbor offered. And Uncle explained that this was the principle by which they strove to live before the war, the principle by which they attempted to live during the war, and now again after the war, it was the principle we were to use in order to live again. Uncle said that it was a blessing to welcome the stranger, to give comfort to the wanderer, and especially to the weary traveler. Just as the hospitable laugh waits for a joke it can laugh at, just as the dying are hospitable in awaiting grace, the arrival of the one, so too the land has the hospitality of a true host. For the earth is so patient, Uncle said. You see, it takes the seed, the weed, the tree, the flower. It takes the rain, the grain, the fire. It allows and invites entry. It is the perfect host, said Uncle. And I understood. The seeds of the earth, the creatures of the earth, the stars overhead, and we ourselves, we were all guests of this field. So we left the land bare, so that the seeds would know to find their way to it. They would be carried in the mouths of small animals who might know this field was waiting. They would drop the seeds here. The raccoon would eat and deposit what was left in the field. The deer, scratching against a post, would release the seeds riding in its pelt. The mourning doves flying over might drop seeds from their beaks. The weather and the sky and the air would join together to bring in seeds on the wind as well. You will see, all because of the tremendous hospitality of this land, a great thing will begin to happen. So that story, for me, was a news story. And of course, I adore news stories, and I always want to tell them. But it has to do with the wisdom pattern that Uncle knew about in terms of the land from the old country, and having no other way other than hard work and trust in the rain and the sun and labor. But for us, it also applies, I think, in this time and in this way, because the principle that Uncle was teaching his dear niece, Clarissa, was the principle called hospitable or hospitality. And it's actually a spiritual principle that you find in all the traditions of wisdom and spirituality in the world. And it has to do with preparing oneself to receive and also allowing oneself to give. And so really it's speaking to this powerful and profound cycle that you and I live in, but it's so easy to kind of forget, of giving and receiving that's happening all the time. And so, all you have to do is humor me a minute and take a deep breath in and hold it until I say stop. Keep holding. Keep holding. Let it out. Circulation, giving and receiving. We wouldn't even live without the ability to take in and then give out. And of course, we all were taught when we were young that this giving and receiving is what makes the planet work. That as we expel, the trees inhale, and as they exhale, we inhale what they give us, oxygen, in this incredibly vast cycle of giving and receiving. But it's everywhere if you begin to look at it, this principle of hospitality, this principle of receiving and giving. It's everywhere if you look hard enough. And so for me, that principle has supported me in understanding how to live in a world that at times is extremely difficult. I don't know if you've found it difficult lately. I've found it difficult for years now. One thing after another. And for me then, my response to difficulty has been to learn how to be hospitable, how to be the place that gives out so that others can receive, and then takes in so that I can give out again. You know that I'm an Emerson scholar, Ralph Waldo Emerson, and one of the things that Emerson says in one of his essays, I didn't look it up today, I think it's in, I don't remember really, Compensation, I think, the essay on compensation, and he says, what seems like a weird line, but that's Emerson all over, right? He says, put God in your debt. And what he meant by that was exactly what I'm talking about. What he meant was that if we begin to pay attention to this principle of giving and receiving, this circular energy of hospitality that the whole world relies on, we begin to realize that we can literally give more. And that puts what he called God in our debt, which means that more will come our way so that we can give more. And he wasn't necessarily talking about a prosperity principle, which many of my colleagues like to use back in the 70s and 80s. This used to be kind of a get rich quick kind of philosophy for some, never me. But how I understood Emerson and how I understand this principle is that if we want the world to thrive, then there are two things we need to understand. The first is what I've been talking about. We need to understand this principle of giving out and taking in, and make sure that our own cycle is balanced. And balanced perhaps in such a way that it's balanced in the world's favor, not our own, which is what Emerson meant. And so, part of what we do as spiritual travelers on a path is we take the time to examine things like this. How is that cycle in my life? Am I someone that out of fear or anxiety or worry during this difficult time, I've closed in and hoarded in the hope that would make me feel safer? And how is that? And also there's the flip side of being out of balance on the other side, which in psychological language is called codependency. Anybody? Don't raise your hand. But it's giving too much. It's giving and giving and giving too much in such a way that the person or the organization that you're giving to is like, I can't take it in. It's too much. It's like a flood tide of unwanted advice and help sometimes. So we examine these places in ourselves, and we ask ourselves some important questions about that. How is the balance? How am I doing there? Am I giving enough into the world of my true self? And am I allowing myself to receive? So that's the other tricky part, especially for people like us who are so generous. Sometimes we make the mistake of thinking in generosity, we shouldn't take anything, we should leave it for someone else. But have you ever really gone somewhere and spent time thinking about your friend and their birthday or their anniversary and or their housewarming or whatever, and you find what you hope is like the most wonderful gift? Maybe you even pay to have special people wrap it up so it looks really, really great. And you take it to the person and they say, oh, I couldn't. You ever, anybody? I have. It's really annoying, and disheartening because you spent all this time really thinking of them and wanting to gift them with this. And that's what sometimes it's like for all of us when we refuse the gifts that come our way. The beautiful compliment that someone gives us, the kind email that someone writes us, the book that someone lends us in the hope that it'll help in a difficult time, whatever. Receiving is just as important as giving, and the cycle must balance for the whole world to work. Yeah, you help make the whole world work. And so the second thing that we need to understand is something that's a lot harder even than that. And Clarissa has a poem she wrote. It's really a blessing, sort of. She said, new seed is faithful. It's faithful. It roots deepest in the places that are most empty. I don't know if you can take that in. I had to think about that a while. It roots deepest in the places that are most empty. And because I take things like that and I think about how it applies spiritually to us, I thought about how in my understanding and in the understanding of the science mind philosophy, we really do believe that you're here for a reason. We really do. And of course, that's perplexing for a lot of us because we're like, well, I would have liked the memo that said what reason I'm here for so that I could be a little bit more accurate in doing that reason. But no, it doesn't work that way. But it is in our tradition a belief that we were made for these times, that there's no accident that you came at this time in history to be here. And why? Because you carry, like the deer carries on its pelt, you carry within you a seed of something that is so true for you that it's just you. And that's the seed that you've been planting all along. Not necessarily knowing, but planting it nonetheless. And the places where it roots the deepest are the places that are the most empty. So without realizing it, that smile you gave to the homeless person, that reached to someone who just lost their partner, that meal you brought to someone who just came home from the hospital, that whatever your seed is, and I don't know what yours is, but whatever it is, you've been planting that. And the more deliberately and consciously we understand that it's not some grandiose thing for most of us, a couple people get to do that. I just went and saw the Leonard Cohen documentary. Highly recommend it. So he had a big seed to plant. He had the song Hallelujah that just, it's unbelievable. So there's people like that. But most people aren't like that at all. Most people are like a tree in the forest where there's lots of trees. And they're just one doing what they do best, giving oxygen and receiving, giving, receiving. So it's something to think about for our own lives. What's the balance and what's the seed? And so I'll do a prayer for that and we'll close. Take a moment now. And whether I believe it's true or not, just for a moment, join me in my belief that there is an intelligence, a wisdom pattern that is operating through the entire cosmos. It is operating in the macro world of galaxies and stars, planets, solar systems. And it's operating in the microcosm of every sacred human. This wisdom pattern in each of us is very unique, very specific. It has taken the time to create each of us with a gift and a seed of its wisdom to be offered into the whole And so, as I think about this, I accept that that could be true for me. That could be true. And so I open to that possibility that I carry a wisdom seed that is uniquely mine to offer into the world, and I seek diligently to know what that is and to very deliberately and consciously offer it in the spirit of hospitality, in the spirit of loving kindness, in the spirit of gift. And as I give, there is no question that I propel the cycle of giving and receiving into a new level of expression. And in my small corner of the world and yours, the world is saved again and again by these generous acts. And I am grateful. And so it is. Thank you. So we're going to invite the ushers to come forward. And we're going to have some wonderful music while we, with deep gratitude, thank you for the gifts of your money to the center. We really appreciate everything and anything you can give. Thank you.
Joy, joy, I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. After all I've been through, I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. After all I've been through, I still got joy. Love, love. I still got love, 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 I still got love, 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 I still got love. After all I've been through, I still got love. And peace, 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 I still got peace, 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 I still got peace, 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 I still got peace. After all I've been through, I still got peace. And joy, 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 I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. After all I've been through, I still got joy. After all I've been through, I still got joy.
So, I told those of you who were here last week that a dear friend of ours, Max, has been visiting, and he's here today. And Max is going to be doing a presentation tonight that you're invited to come to. It's by donation. And so I've invited Max to come up and just talk a little bit about what he's up to. Come on up, Max. There you go.
Good morning, everyone. Hey, this is my first time in the area and my first time here, of course, and you have such a lovely house of worship. And it's self-evident that there's so much joy and love and joyful music, and it's wonderful to be here. I have appreciate so much seeing Joe and Andrea again. We go way back, and it's
They heard.
it's been over a decade, and it's just been. I've been basking in their hospitality, and I appreciate it so much. And I also am so grateful for them hosting the play tonight, and it's called The Spirit of Carl Sandburg. And Carl Sandburg was born in 1878, and he was known as the people's poet. And he earned this name because he wrote for the common man, for the working man. And um, he wrote in their language. So everyone could understand him. And for someone born in 1878, he still reads so easily and is easily understood. He called himself the eternal hobo because all his life he loved to travel and he loved to gather these experiences. He wrote a lecture on Walt Whitman when he was a young man, and that allowed him to travel anywhere in America and present that and trade what he called his songs and poems for bread, and was allowed to do that. But one of his themes throughout all of his, much of his poetry is in nature. And he believed that nature will always provide every person, no matter their economic circumstance, always at every place and at all times something beautiful to appreciate. And it gives life meaning, and it gives it hope. It could be light that comes in through a window with the dust, dancing in the light, or it could be the light illuminating those flowers, or it could be the glory of a homegrown tomato, or it could be the sound of the ocean, or the smell of the ocean, or the clouds in the sky, or the nighttime stars in the sky. And he always had an eye to look for the beautiful. Moment after moment, it seemed. And at the same time, he knew that all beautiful things are ephemeral, that they would vanish, that they'd go away, and they were momentary. And in that knowledge, it gave him so much more appreciation for being in the present. And he knew that when that moment was past, there was something else that was beautiful that was going to come in the next moment. So this play, I wrote it 4 years ago, and it gives me so much, it feeds my soul. It has from the very beginning. It's not what I'm doing now. I won't be up here tonight telling you a lecture about Carl Sandburg. I'll be gone, and Carl Sandburg will be here. He'll be back, and he'll share with you his incredible experiences and ideas and beliefs. So it's just made me come alive in the last 4 years. And I'll leave you with a quote, and it's not from Carl Sandburg, it's from the 20th century theologian Howard Thurman. And he said that, don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, and then go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. And that's what this has done for me. And I'm just so grateful to be able to present this tonight and to give back. And so if you have opportunity and interest, then I look forward to seeing the same faces out there tonight. Thank you.
So the play begins at 7 o'clock. It's 90 minutes long with a brief intermission. And like I said, it's by donation, and that will support the center, and it'll support Max's travel expenses. So we'd love you to be here if you would like to come. It should be very wonderful. I've been hearing bits and pieces all week, and it's just exciting to me that he found this. Yes. It is also going to be live streamed if you can't come. And it's the first time that that's happening. And so we actually have some people from the House of Poetry, which is a really amazing organization on the East Coast, who will be listening in tonight, live stream as well. So one way or another, please feel free to come. Reverend Z, right there, is going to be offering a class really soon. It starts on Tuesday, September 13th. The class is 10 weeks long. It's called The Essential Earnest Homes, and it's a really lovely look at the core principles of our philosophy. And it's offered in a hybrid integrated fashion, so you can either take it through Zoom or in person. And the class goes from 6 to 8:30 in the evening. You do need to register, and there is a book for you to get. So if you would like to register, there are a couple ways that you can do that. You can, at home, go to our website, CSL Bellingham, and click the registration button, find Essential Earnest and register there. Or we have an Ask Me desk here in the back, and our board members of the day, Heather and Christine, are happy to help you register at the desk. And if you have any questions about the class, Reverend Zena would love to answer those. You can see her after the service. Should be really lovely. We had a sort of a full moon celebration, and we had 3 days to let people know about it. So we want you to know a little bit more ahead of time that there is a full moon celebration happening. It's being put on by a wonderful Kundalini Yoga member of our community, Renee, and her friends. The full moon is Friday, September 9th. And so we're going to gather in the lower meadow at 7:30 in the evening. So since it's September, you might want to bring a wrap or a blanket, maybe a lawn chair, and there will be some wonderful opportunity in different forms, including Renee has this incredible gong to celebrate the full moon together. Also, I don't think it made it into the announcements. I'm not sure it did, but I don't know if you're aware of the Threshold Singers. Yes? Well, Carol happens to be one of them. The Threshold Singers are a group of people who come together and sing in places where people are experiencing grief, who are passing on, so they're in hospice or they're in the dying process. And we had them come on the Day of the Dead last year. We're hoping they'll come back for this year's Day of the Dead. But they are offering to do I don't want to call it a concert, but an offering on September 11th, appropriate time, at 2 p.m. here. They're hoping to be outside if the weather's nice. And it's an offering to our community, an appreciation, and also an offering for any of you or people you know. So this is an ask for you to think about who in your life is maybe going through a very difficult time, has lost someone that they love dearly, lost an animal that they've really loved, anything like that, to come and allow the music of these wonderful people to wash into heart and mind and lift. So that's on the 11th. And our last announcement, I'm going to have Kat Wingirter, our teen advisor, come up and talk to you a little bit about teen group. I want to tell you that Kat has been single-handedly doing this incredible thing, starting our teen group, and she would love, if you are drawn or called to work with teenagers, to hear from you, because she would like to have another advisor help her. So Kat, take it away and let us know about what's going on with teen group.
Good morning. My name's Kat. My pronouns are they, them. And I am the advisor for the teen group for CSL Bellingham. And yes, I am looking for a second advisor so we can start meeting in person as well. But right now we are meeting on Discord, which is an online communication group. If you don't know what it is, I guarantee your teens do. The Discord does take a couple of steps to sign up for, and I would like to have an interest and meeting for any adults and their teens that are looking into joining our program and want to know more about Discord, about what we do, and about everything that we're going to be doing, which does include teen camp. The date, just looked it up and then I forgot it. The date for that will be in September 21st at 5:30. It will be online via Zoom so that we can walk you through the Discord process, which is an online service. If you have any questions or anything that you'd like to talk about ahead of that meeting, please let me know. Again, my name is Kat, and we do have an email that is found on our website. And the teen program is open for 13 to 18. You don't drop out when you turn 18, you drop out when you turn 19. So it goes all the way through. So if you do know any teens, or if you are a teen listening, please let me know and we will get you signed up. And we have meetings at 12 on Sundays on Discord. And we get a chance to talk to not just our teens here, but teens all over the CSL community. So please join us, and we'll be happy to have you.
What I love about the CSL teen programs is they are leading the way in inclusivity and diversity. And it's so powerful to have teens of all different sorts come together and experience unconditional love and acceptance. So if you have a teen, see Kat and see if they'd be willing to come and be a part of that. All right, Amber, let's go.
You may want to stand and dance with this one. Take me to the water and I'll dive right in. I'm ready to let go of everything that's been. I said, take me to the mountain and I'll climb on up. From the highest peak, beauty's gonna fill my cup. I say yes, I say yes. I know all is well. All right, now here's the easy part. Say yes, yes, yes. I say yes, I say yes, yes. Knowing all is well. I say yes, I say yes. I say yes, yes, yes. Knowing all is well. I say yes, I say yes. I know all is well. I said to throw routine right out the door. When I'm scared, I know it leads me to something more. Widen my gaze and see all there is. Take a leap of faith, I'm gonna find that place. I say yes, I say yes. I know all is well. Sing yes, I say yes, yes. I say yes, I say yes, yes. Knowing all is well. I say yes, I say yes. I say yes, yes, yes. Knowing all is well. I say yes, I say yes. I know all is well. I say yes. Oh, now you all say yes. We know all is well. I say yes. Come on, we all say yes. We know all is well. Yes, indeed. So lovely to see your faces. We'll see you again soon. Have a great week.